Wicked's live-action debut was undoubtedly a hit, and we are absolutely buzzing for Wicked for good later this year, but with all the hype and excitement, we can't help but wonder, where does the Wicked world go from here? Is this just the start of something bigger? I mean, talks of a Wicked cinematic universe are in the air, and while we don't have all the details yet, Wicked composer Stephen Schwartz has hinted that more films could be in the works. Now, with that potential, of course, here at SLUURP, we've got some pretty awesome and wild ideas as to where the franchise could go next. And yeah, that's kind of what this video is all about. I'm Connor for SLUURP, and today we are looking at 5 sequel ideas that can take the Wicked universe to epic new levels. Number 5. The Origins of Oz. The world of Wicked is packed with so many fascinating characters that honestly, choosing just one for a prequel feels kind of impossible. I mean, it would be awesome to dive into the origins of Oz with certain characters to expand the universe. Taking this route could ultimately open up doors to multiple movies, each diving into different characters' backstories. A miniseries could also be an awesome concept to take things even further, fleshing out the world of Oz in a way we've never seen before. Think about it, every major character in Wicked has a past we've barely scratched the surface of. Fiyero wasn't just some carefree prince, he was heir to a kingdom that he abandoned. What was his life before Shiz? Did he always feel like an outsider, or was he supposed to be a leader before he threw it all away for love? And Bok, I mean man, poor Bok. He spent years pining for Glinda only to be manipulated into thinking Elphaba cursed him. But how exactly did he go from being a sweet lovesick munchkin to a literal heartless tin man? I mean, come on, that's a story that practically writes itself, begging to be on the big screen. Of course, we also have Madame Morrible. The woman was pulling the strings in Oz's corrupt political system long before Elphaba and Glinda ever set foot in Shiz. But where did she come from? How did she rise to power? Was she always this manipulative, or was she just another cog in Oz's broken system before she took over control herself? I mean, even Nessa Rose's story could make a compelling prequel or bridge the gap between Wicked 1 and Wicked 2. Raised as the perfect daughter, given everything Elphaba had, but still somehow ending up as the ruthless Wicked Witch of the East. What really drove her to rule over Munchkinland with an iron fist? The possibilities are really endless, and with the right approach, this could be the way to turn Wicked into a full-fledged cinematic universe. Whether it's multiple spin-off films or a series that lets each character take the spotlight, Origins of Oz could finally give us a full picture of how this world came to be, and what it means by the time Wicked begins. But if an Origins of Oz movie did happen, which story do you think you would want to see the most? Let us know in those comments below. Number 4. Glinda's Reign. With the wizard in disgrace by the end of Wicked, exposed for who he truly is, a fraud, Glinda's left with the Oz wreckage. By this point, she can't really rely on her charismatic charm anymore. She's in charge, but she's also got to deal with all the crap that Elphaba's death and the wizard's rule have left behind. And that's not easy when you've spent years turning a blind eye to corruption. Yeah, you should have definitely flown off on that broomstick with your bestie, Glinda girl. But with Glinda holding down the fort, what if a new villain emerges? Maybe someone who worked with Madame Morrible, or maybe even someone still loyal to the wizard's old regime. I mean, Glinda would have to confront that, which would open up so many story avenues and further character developments for her. And then of course, Oz's people start to figure out that the Wicked Witch wasn't so wicked after all. Oh man, they would be pissed and they would want answers, and they might even demand a revolt. Cue an epic showdown scene. By telling this story, Glinda wouldn't be fighting for just Oz anymore. She's fighting for herself too. Could she hold on to the throne when people are starting to question everything she's ever stood for? Could she lead this world that's fallen apart? And most importantly, could she face the consequences of being the one who helped to create this mess in the first place? I mean, call this House of Oz, cause this could be Game of Thrones level of juicy. We need answers in a Glinda sequel. Stat. Well, after Wicked for good, but yeah, stat. Coming in at number 3. Son. of a Witch. With the success of Wicked's big screen debut and Wicked for Good on the way, the opportunity to expand on its worlds are already there, but rather than inventing a new follow-up, the perfect sequel does actually exist in Wicked author Gregory Maguire's novel Son of a Witch, a story that picks up after Elphaba's supposed death and dives deeper into the fractured state of Oz. The novel is ripe for adaptation, carrying on themes of power, identity and rebellion while introducing a fresh perspective through Liir, a young man who may or may not be Elphaba's son. Set 10 to 15 years after Wicked, the story follows Liir as he struggles to find his place in the world, still haunted by Elphaba's legacy. Unlike his possible mother, he isn't naturally gifted in magic, nor is he born revolutionary. Instead, he stumbles through Oz searching for answers about himself, about the kidnapped Princess Noor, and about the future of a land now ruled by SLUURP, Elphaba's power-hungry half-brother. His journey takes him from the corrupt Emerald City army to the ruins of Kiamoko, ultimately forcing him to decide whether he will step into Elphaba's shadow or forge his own path. A live-action adaptation of Son of the Witch would take Wicked's world beyond the fairy tale fantasy into a more complex, politically charged realm, showing the true fallout of Elphaba's rebellion. With the trend of darker, more mature fantasy films, this sequel could offer mystery, action and more moral ambiguity, appealing to both longtime fans and new audiences. It's a chance to explore the next generation of Oz and expand the live-action universe even further. I mean, heck, if Liir goes on to have his own kids, the possibilities of the Wicked universe are truly endless. Number 2. A Lion Among Men. Another book in the Wicked timeline from author Gregory Maguire would pave the way for an awesome on-screen adaptation. A Lion Among Men. A Lion Among Men would be the perfect follow-up to dive deeper into Oz's complicated world. The novel shifts focus to Brrr, the cowardly lion, you know, the one Elphaba and Fiyero rescued in Wicked? Yeah, that guy. In this darker, more introspective story, we finally get to explore Brrr's backstory and the personal struggles he faces with identity, courage, and the fractured political state of Oz after Elphaba's death. This is some big brain stuff. Set after Son of a Witch, the story follows Brrr as he tries to navigate Oz's unstable political landscape while dealing with his own fears and pressure of living up to the legacy of Elphaba's revolution. A live-action adaptation of A Lion Among Men would seamlessly pick up after Wicked, following the rescue of Brrr by Elphaba and Fiyero. It would just let us dive deeper into his story as he tries to figure out who he is in the middle of a torn Oz, and of course before we famously meet him with Dorothy along the Yellow Brick Road. And the format could also work for other secondary characters from Wicked like the Tin Man and the Scarecrow, each with their own untold story. A Lion Among Men sets the perfect precedent for exploring other stories in more depth, expanding the Oz universe in a way that keeps things fresh, while still tying back to the story we all know and love. That said, while a bigger time jump could work, Son of a Witch would likely need to come first. In terms of a movie sequel for context, it would lay the groundwork for political instability in Oz and the events leading up to Brrr's journey, giving the on-screen story the necessary context and making the transition to A Lion Among Men to feel more natural. But hey, if that means more movies in the Wicked on-screen universe for it to make sense, we're not complaining. Number 1. The Return of Elphaba. So there's no doubt that there's so many avenues for the Wicked live-action world to take us. But one idea we'd love to see brought to the big screen is a Wicked sequel that picks up right where the musical left off, but with a darker twist on Elphaba and Fiyero's escape. After all, Elphaba and Fiyero's happily ever after wasn't exactly what they expected, with Elphaba presumed dead and Fiyero stuck in his scarecrow form. They're on the run, hiding out in exile. So imagine for a second, Elphaba and Fiyero managed to escape, but now they're hiding out, trying to keep a low profile. Elphaba's magic is still super powerful, but it's also a huge risk. What if it gives them away? Fiyero, on the other hand, is dealing with the fact that he's, now a scarecrow and can never easily go back to his old life. What if rumours start spreading that Elphaba's still alive? And we're talking about a whole new group of people, maybe some leftover allies from the wizard's regime, but I think some mysterious new threat. Who would want to use Elphaba's power for their own plans? The plot could see the capture of Fiyero, leading Elphaba to make a huge call, staying in hiding or go back to Oz and risk everything. Talk about a tough choice, right? It'd be a killer storyline to really dig into Elphaba's emotions and her struggle with the bigger picture in Oz. Meanwhile, we can see Glinda grappling with her own responsibilities as ruler. Her leadership is now being questioned, and the old power structure are still trying to claw their way back. When Elphaba reappears, Oz is thrown into chaos. What's new? Some still view her as a villain and others a symbol of rebellion. Glinda then has to decide to expose the truth or to help her old friend. This is a Wicked sequel we could totally see working, diving deep into the fallout of Elphaba's fake death, the struggles of Oz, and whether Elphaba can ever stop running. I mean, the reunion alone between Elphaba and Glinda would be tense, emotional, and not to mention the epic reunion song we'd get. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want an original Ariana and Cynthia Wicked banger? In Maguire's book, sequels like Son of the Witch, A Lion Amongst Men shift the focus to characters like Liir and Brrr, while Oz evolves into a much darker place. But what if the movie stayed true to the Wicked musical ending, keeping Elphaba and Glinda at the heart of the story? We'd love to see the sequel play out this way, expanding on the musical's universe and giving us the next chapter of the tale Wicked fans already loved. And that's a wrap on our Wicked sequel pitches. What kind of story do you want to see in a live action Wicked world? More Glinda? How about some Elphaba? A deep dive into side characters, or maybe you've got a whole new idea we haven't even thought of? Either way, we want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in that comment section down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've been the wickedly talented one and only Connor for SLUURP. Thanks for watching, and check out this clip from another one of our Wicked videos.
What if Glinda and Fiyero are set to get married? And before they can say I do, guards burst in with the news that Elphaba has been spotted, causing Fiyero to bolt from the altar? To the public, it might look like he's just fulfilling his captain of the guard duties. But what if his actions are actually motivated by his feelings for Elphaba, driving him to leave?